Welcome to today's video on road traffic intersection making use of Anylogic simulation software. In the previous videos we've made, we've been able to look into simulation as a whole that we have in transportation engineering, and there we're also able to outline some of the popular simulation softwares we use in transportation, and one of it is Sumo. We have the VSIM, and here we also have Anylogic. And within the last few videos we've made, we've been able to look into the introduction and some of the terminologies we make use of in Anylogic, and also we are able to come up with a model, a simulation of a subway entrance hall, in which you can always find on the platform here. So, and also today we are going to be looking into the road traffic intersection. There are some terminologies we make use of when we're setting up the model for the subway entrance, or that we will not be making use of under the road traffic intersection. The reason is that there are some interface, or there are some of those tools that are strictly for subway intersection, and there are some of it that are strictly for when we are coming up with maybe the road traffic intersection. We use what we call the pet source and some other things when we were looking into the subway entrance hall. But in today's video under the road traffic intersection, we will not be making use of some of those things. There we are going to be making use of things that are related to our traffic intersection, and that is vehicles, of what we call the cars. So we have things like the car source. We have other terminologies like that we are going to be making use of in this video. And in today's video, or in the simulation, or the phases of this traffic intersection, we have about 6 phases to it. The first thing we're going to be doing in this video is to be able to draw a road. That is, we're going to be importing the image we're going to be using, and also we're going to be drawing a road for our first phase. And moving on to the second phase is when we are going to be adding the 3D format, or the 3D animation, showing how the model looks like in a 3D form. Then afterwards is redrawing our intersection, which will be the third phase in today's video. And afterwards, we are going to be modeling a parking lot. So that is the introduction of a parking lot in the model, and running the model. And the fourth one is the modeling, or the introduction of a bus movement. First, we have the car introduction. There, we're also going to be having the bus movement. Then the fifth part is the adding of the traffic lights. So these are just the 6 phases we are going to be looking into in today's video on road traffic intersection. Like I said, using Anylogic, and we know, like we said in the previous videos, that Anylogic is an agent-based model. So without wasting too much time, we I will just also explain some of the terms we're going to be using in the process of this tutorial video, so I won't have to repeat myself by the time we start the tutorial video, or we start the simulation, or the developing the model. So the first key terms we are going to be making use of in the process of the simulation is what we call the car source. Now, for this car source, we know it's just like a block, that helps in creating the cars, or the vehicles, and placing them into the road network. So the place where it is being placed, as it said, car, the source. The source means the starting point where it will be moving from, and this defines where and when these vehicles appear in the model. So it's either on the road or in a parking lot. All these cars are being generated based on parameters like the inter-arrival time, the arrival rate, maybe the rate schedule, or customer arrival schedule. So they are different. These are some of the other advanced levels to the introduction or the generation of these cars in the model. But what we are trying to say here is the car source just explains the introduction of the car into the model, or where it will be, where and when the car will appear in the layout or in the model. So that is what we call the car source. And from what we have in the second one, which is the car move to, So this block, you can also call it a block. This block is just used to control the movement of vehicles. So what is the movement of the vehicles like? That is, it directs the car to a specific destination. So what is the specific destination we want the car to go to? Now, in the course of the video, in the course of this tutorial, and when we are setting up the model, we will see that there are movement. We have the north, south, let's just say east and west. So if the vehicle is moving from the north to the south, it is under the car move tool will be able to specify the movement, the source. The car source is moving from the north. So that means where is it moving to? It is moving to the what? To the south. So that is where the car move to, it will be passing through, or the movement across will be then. So that is what the car move to is. And the third part here is what we call the car dispose. The car dispose, this is when the vehicle is being removed from the simulation. That is, this block removes the vehicles or the cars or maybe the bus from the simulation. It represents the end of the vehicle's journey or its exit from the model area. So that is the end product. We also had something similar to this when we were looking into the subway hall simulation. So the end product, that is the exiting of the vehicle or the car from the simulation, it happens at the point of the car dispose. Now, the fourth key terms we have here is what we call the select output. And what is select output talking about? If we have vehicles coming from the northern part of the road or the north side of the road, we know that not every of these vehicles are going to the south part of the road. Some of them might be going to the east, or some of them might be going to the west. In a much more traffic terms, I can always talk about we having the vehicles going through, or some of them going in the right turn lane or the left turn lane or the true lane. So in this kind of situation, we know that there might be different movements within that simulation or in that model. So that is where the select output. So this block is being introduced into the model or the simulation to help us split into branches. So instead of it just going in one direction, it gives us the room to be able to use this tool to be able to split the movement within different branches. And for the select output, we have two of it. We have just the select output, and we also have what we call the select output file. The select output only can be split into two. We're going to be using that in the model soon, so we have more understanding of it. Yes, we also made use of this under the pet select output when we were looking into the subway entrance or simulation. So, but the select output 5, it shows that it has up to 5 output ports. That is, it can go in many different directions. So, but for the sake of today's video, I think we're going to be making use of the select output, and maybe later in the future, we're going to be coming up with an advanced setup whereby we'll be able to make use of the select output 5 in the process. So, without wasting much time, we can now begin the road traffic intersection simulation. So here we have the Anylogic Personal Learning Edition. This is the interface. So then we click on create a model. So here we have it. We can just click on it. Then what is the name we want to give to this model? We can just say traffic intersection. No, let's just say road traffic tutorial. So when I click on it here, we can also see it appear here. So the next thing is to change the model time units from seconds to minutes. So then after doing that, we can click on the finish, then create a new model. So the new model will be created here. So we'll give it few seconds to create the model. So this is what we have afterwards. So we can just close the properties here. So we have enough space to work within the interface. So like I was explaining, so here is our pet source, pet sync. We made use of this when we were looking into the subway entrance all. But for the sake of today, we are going to be looking into the road traffic library. So when we click on this, then we can see the castles in which I explained earlier, the car dispose, the car move to, and some other informations. So just like the way we had target line when we were looking into the subway hall, here we have the road in which we're going to be using to create the road. So those, I'm just trying to give a little introduction into some of the tools we have in the library or some of the blocks. So or the space markup. These are the space markup, and this is the blocks. So without wasting too much time, then we need to now export the image layout. That is the layout image we're going to be building the network on, or building the model on. So, and in order to do that, I already have it saved on my phone, on my laptop. So all I need to do is go under presentation. Then we have the image here. So when I click on the image, it will lead me to where I have the image saved. Or so what I do is I will drag the image into the main page. So in the process of doing that, after doing that, then I have something like this. This is my road layout, and I open. Then this is the image layout. So this is the image layout we will be using for this model. So the first thing, like I said, we have imported the image layout into the interface. So then after doing this, so the next thing we're going to be doing is we need to draw the road. And so that means we go back to the road traffic library. So we click on the road space mark here. So we come into the image. Then the first thing is to draw a linear line, that is a straight line, which will stop here. But we'll still continue by drawing a line, but this time around it will be in form of a curve at this point, in order to achieve the curvy part of this layout. We cannot have a straight line run through. For example, if I decide to have it this way, I cannot have a straight line run through the road like this, you can see. So that means there is a point where there has to be a curve in order to achieve that. So to this point would it would be a straight line like this, so in which I can pick. Then I would left click, but still will continue. So to this point is still giving something like a straight line, but it's not really even. So this time around, so we hold down the left click button in order to achieve the curve. So then when I do that, so you can see, so you can see the curve. This is the curve. So you can see it has been able to straighten up with the road due to the curve we have. So you can see the curve, you can see. So all we do is that we hold down the left click button in order to achieve the curve. So when we do that, I think this should, okay, let me adjust it. So I think this should be okay for a road. Then we can continue, then finish it up to the end of the layout. So you can decide to just stop it here. So this is it. So we have been able to create a road on the image or the layout we have in this interface. So like I said, I'm just running through the whole thing again. The first thing is that when we import our image, the next thing we're going to do is to introduce the space markup for the road, and we double click the road. So when it shows a pencil icon around it, that means it has already been activated. You come to the beginning of this point, then you left click, then draw it to this point. But the next point will entail us having this curve, and in order for us to be able to achieve the curve, we'll still have to continue drawing, but it will appear as a straight line. But as at the point when we left click, we'll hold it down in order to be able to achieve the curve we want to achieve. And when that is achieved, then we continue again to the end point of the of this road. Then we'll be able to achieve what we have here. So after when we've been able to do this, the next thing is for us to customize the road attributes. So that is, we can, when we click on the road itself, we can come under the views, then go under the properties. No, not this. So when I click on the road here, then here's, we can go under the properties. So now we can see on the road we have two lanes, but for the sake of this video, we will only be restricting it to just one lane. So there's one lane on the two sides of the road, like this here. The name is still road, but we're only removing this instead of two. You can see if we decide to make it two, we can see here there are two lanes here. If I want to make it three, you can see we have three lanes. So then we leave it as one lane, and we can see this is the forward lane, this is the backward lane. But having that all sorted, then we can exit this. So that means we already have, we only have one lane in this direction, moving from the south to the north, and also from the north to the south, just one lane. So after when we've been able to achieve this, we can see the road we drew is looking opaque. It's looking opaque, so we want to try as much as possible to make it a little bit maybe semi-transparent. And in order for us to do that, so that means we have to reduce the opaque level. So we'll click on the road itself, then we also go back to the properties. So under the properties now, we have to pick the, so when I click on this, go under the properties. So then we have the appearance. So under the appearance, the road color is gray, yes. So but we go under the, no, we go under the other colors. So under the other colors here, we have the transparency level as 255. So we can reduce this to 150. So to make it semi-transparent. So we click on OK. So we could see after we've been able to do that, it is different from what we had before. So it's a little bit semi-transparent now compared to how opaque it was before we did the adjustment. So after when we've been able to do that, the next thing is we can decide to also increase the scale of the image. What we have here is the scale is within 25 meters. So if we want to increase the scale, maybe probably let's say we want to increase to 35 meters, we click on the scale here, then we go under the properties. So under the properties, we have the ruler length corresponds to, instead of 35, 30, 25, we can increase to 35. So when we do that, we could see this, it has been increased. We have the increment here to 35. You could see it's give us a bit of a better view after when we're able to do that. So the next step for us is to introduce our card source and also the car move to with also the car dispose. I already explained that in the beginning of the video. So in order to do that, we drag this in. So we drag our car source, then the car move to, we make sure they connect. Because we have to make sure they connect. So in the movement, we have to make sure it connects with the car source. So something like that. Then we also have the car dispose, that is when they live in the simulation or the model. So it also continues this way, connecting this way. So we have the car source, the introduction, then the car move to the movement, then the car dispose leaving the model or the simulation. So after when we've been able to do that, we had to modify the properties of the car source and the car move to, but we won't do anything to the car dispose. So in order to do that, we click on the car source, then the properties will be displayed. So here we have the property. So under the road here, we just click on the road, but here we have the road, that is the road we created. So we have it. So then after doing that, we close. We move under the cut move to also. We modify the properties. So the road here, it will be the same road we created. So once we can close. So with this, we can decide to run the model and see the little introductions we've been able to do so thus far and see how it operates within the model. So we can just run the model. So we can see the movement of the vehicles here. So you can see them, it is only moving from the south to the north because that is the only thing we've been able to do thus far. The movement, this is the source because we only did it for one way. So this is the source. Then from this source to and through this car move to, then here we have the exit point, that is the car dispose in the model. So you can see the movement. So just a run through of everything we've been able to do thus far is the first thing we're going to do is to open our Anylogic Personal Learning Edition. After that, we create a model. So you can use any name to save the model. Then immediately after doing that, the next thing is to be able to import the image or the image layout you're going to be using for the modeling. Then after including that, like as we have there, then we create the road. We know that the road you can either draw it straight or it has to be curvy, but the first part of it has to be straight. But the part that needs to be curved, you have to hold down the left click of the mouse in order to be able to achieve that. And after doing that, we increase or we reduce the opaque level by making the road a little bit semi-transparent. And after that, we change the properties of the road. After changing the properties of the road, we can increase the centimeter of the road. Instead of having it as 25 centimeters, we increased it to 35 centimeters. And immediately after doing that, we also have our flow, the vehicle flow or the car flow in the model. So including in introducing the car flow, afterwards we run the model, and this is what we've been able to achieve. So this is just a run through, a summary of everything we've been able to do for the last 15-16 minutes. So we move into the next phase so of the model. So we move to the next phase. So here we are back to the interface again. So the next thing we are going to be doing is a 3D animation. Let's see how the 3D animation is going to look like. So the first thing is we go under the presentation here. So under the presentation we have the 3D window. So you can drag it down here, we drag it, you can leave it outside of where we have the layout, the 3D animation. So after when we've been able to do that, we can still decide to run the same the model and see how the difference between what we had before and what we'll be having now with the introduction of the 3D animation. So here we have, but if we want to see this in a 3D animation, we come under the toggle developer panel here. We click on this, and then we come under this and we move to window 3D. So it's already on the origin, but we have to change it to the window 3D. If I want to move the layouts, I just need to hold down with the left click, and I can just move it as much as I want to. But if I want to turn this model, so the next stage is for us to be able to introduce a new car type into the interface. And in order to do that, we can see here the car type under the road traffic library. So if I decide to click on that, so what I do is I can drag it into the interface this way. So then, the agent type name. So whatever name we want to use, we can leave it as car, or probably let me just put it as T car. So we know that it's a tutorial car, just in case we have other names that are saved for the vehicle or the car in the software. So we have the T car. So the agent type name is T car. So we move to the next. So the next is still going to be a car. We're making use of a car. Then we go next again. So we don't have any other thing else to do after that. Then we click on finish. So here we have the main. Then it will create as a new tab here. We have the car being created as a new tab here. So let's just give it a few seconds to load. So now we have it. That's our ticker. So we have it already in the interface. So, but that is not what we need. So we go back to the main here. Don't forget to do that. We go back to the main. We can close this. So we know initially when we had to run the model, we had a kind of vehicle showing in the model when we run the model. But now we don't want to use that type of vehicle. We want our own kind of car in the model. So in order to do that, that means we go back under the car source in order to edit it. So we go under the properties. So here under the new car, so the new car we have, it's not the agent, we are using the T car. So since this is what we want, we can click on the T car. So we can see still every other informations are there. The road, here's on the road 1000. So this is it. So this is what we need. Then afterwards we can close this. So that means the new kind of car that we want to introduce into the model has been added. So we already have it now. So when we decide to run this, that is what it will show. So we can try to to run the model here. Let's see. Let's say the difference between when we had the default vehicle and this new one we've been able to introduce. So let's see the difference between the two of them. So this is what we will have. We can see the vehicles are different. If you decide to take it a little bit backward, you'll see the kind of vehicles we had at the beginning when we had the model run, but now the vehicles are different. So we can decide to put this in a window 3D in order to have a closer look, a 3D look at it. So now this, so here we have it. And if we also want to, we can also have it this way in any way we want to put it. So that explains this. So we can close and back to our interface. So we can also decide to still edit our road network by clicking on this, then go under the properties to make it look like road. Sorry. So we want to change it to it. So this is the road color. So why is my laptop acting up? So we come under the texture. So here we have the tarmac. This, we click on it, then we press OK. Then we can see the road color has changed, the appearance has changed to the tarmac color. So the final part is to return back to our image, lock it, and change the z1 into -1. So here we have the properties. So here we have the image. So this one we can just keep this as -1, and here we can lock the image. So after locking, we can close. Yes, and we can have this. We can have this. So that completes the second phase of this road traffic intersection that we're trying to do. In the first phase, we're able to look into drawing an introduction of our layout and drawing the road. Now for the second phase is where we get to make it into a 3D animation, and also we're able to have a introduction of the car type into the model, and that is what we've been able to do. So in the third phase, then we'll be able to take it a little bit further and able to draw our intersection. So that will be the third phase we'll be looking into now. So now for the third phase, we're going to be looking into, we have been able to work on this particular road, so we need to be able to look into the east road also by linking the east road to this north and south road, to the main road. And let's just say maybe the right turn lane if you want to do that, but this particular road we call it the east road, so linking it to this. And in order for us to do that, we go under the markup, we click on the road, so we are able to create a line that runs from the road to this point, to the to this one. So we link it, we have to find a way to link it up. So in order to link it up, I can just have something like this done. So linking it to this, linking it this way. So you can see it has been able to create that intersection at that point. So the intersection has been created, so we can decide to edit this. What are we modifying here? We can see here is a 2-lane, just like the way we did with the main road. We can see here is a 2-lane, so we have to edit it to a 1-lane. So we take this one and we also reduce this to 1. So we have it this way. So there's also one. So we can also proceed to name this road east. So show the difference between the roads, because now we have different set of roads here. So just to be able to differentiate them, so we have the road east this way. So it's we are locked in, and that is it. So you can see it has changed to one lane at the both sides of the road network here. So connecting to this. So here it is. Here we can see. So the next thing we're going to do is to rename all the road. When I click on this particular one, we can see this is one road. So this road, if we want to rename, click on it, we go under the properties, then we can change this to road. So since it's on the south, so put it road south. Excuse me. We also click on the next one here. So when we click on it, we edit it also. Since this is in the north, we can call it the road north. Then for this other one, I think we already done that. We've already named it. That is road east. Yes, we've done that already, road east. So we have been able to rename the three parts of the road. That is the northern part of the road here, of the road network, the northern part, the southern part, and the eastern part of the road network here. And here is the point of their intersection. But so far, the only movement of vehicle or cab on this layout is only the movement from the north to from the south to the north, in which that was what we did at the beginning. But it's high time we're able to edit the movement so that it could accommodate the other parts of the road. So that is the next stage of what we are going to be looking into now. So since we have different parts of the road, so it's very important now we go back to our car source to edit it to show what exactly it is. This is just the movement from here to here. Initially, with no one, we didn't have the intersection. Run it down. It was sounding as just one road, but now we can see after the intersection, we need to be able to specify where on the road do we want this the car source. The car source is from here. Where is it going? Do we want it to go to the east? Do we want it to go to the north? So, but what's the source? The source is from the south here, going to where the north. So here we have it on the south, so you can edit it. The car source will be from car source, so we can just name it car source S. So which shows it's coming from the south. That is the source. From the south, then can move to. So where is it going to? It is moving to the what? To the north. So from the south, yeah, it's going to the north. So we need to specify it under the can move to. So where is it moving to exactly? So we click on the move to. We go back to the properties and change it. Move to. So we have the can move to where? To the north. So can move to the north. So after when we've been able to do that, we come under the road also. So where is the road leading? It's leading to the north. So we have to show that it is north. So we have something like this. I think that is saved. But I think we didn't edit it in the first part of the car source S. So let's just confirm if everything here is alright. We have the car source S that is for the south. So it's moving to the through the road south also. So yes, it's moving through the road south as specified here. So we have everything on point. So that means if we decide to run this model, we show the movement from car source S moving from the south going to the north. So if we decide to run this model, so let's just quickly do that very quickly so we can continue with the other parts. The reason why we're doing that is to be sure that we've not made any mistake, because if there is any mistake in the course of our this modeling, then we will not be able to run the simulation. It will give us a failed or an error response. Probably, maybe in the process of when we're doing this, in case if I make any mistake, maybe probably we'll see how that will play out. It will not show the simulation or the movement of vehicles. It will give an error message showing that there is a mistake somewhere in the course of the computation or configuration. So, so we can say the movement from the south going to the north, going to the north. There is that movement from the south to the north. Yeah. So let's go back to the interface. And so before we can proceed with any other thing now, we need to add more to this flow chart in order to do that. But the space we have here is not enough, so we can decide to move this flow chart down. So in order to create much more space for us to be able to add more blocks into the interface. But in order to still do that, let's move this one. Let's move this down. So we have enough space to do that. So I can decide to just extend it this way. Okay. So we can do this. So now the movement we have is the movement. Let me The movement we have is the movement from the car source to the north, that is from the south to the north. So what we want to do now is the ability to be able to have it also from the north to the south. And for us to do that, we're also still able to create, we are going to be able to create a new car source, and we also create a car move to. And to do that, we can drag this in the car source. Then we have car move to. So the next thing is that we need to create a connector with this green dot here. We have to create a connector from this car source to this can move to. And in order to do that, you just left click on it. So we connect this to this. And after connecting that to this, then we have the connection this way. Then we can let it join to this. But we'll also drag it into this point to the connector here. So we're having something like this. So that means we have from S to N, then to the car dispose. We can also have it from the car moving from this to the source, from this to this. So we need to be able to now change the properties of this car source and the car move to, because we want a two-way, not just the movement in one direction. We want the other way, a two-way movement, that is the forward movement and also the backward, like on the two sides of the lanes. So we want movement on both sides. So now let's change the properties. Let's change the property. So we click on the first one, castles. Now the castles here, so since what we have here is movement in one direction, that is from the south to the north, here we want from the movement from the north to the south. That means instead of it being a forward movement, to be a backward movement. So these are some of the things we are going to be changing under the properties. So we come under the properties. So since this one is castles S, so we have to be castles N. So this will be N, and since it's N, so that means it's on the north. So they go on the road of the what of the north. So we have it in north. So rather than forward lane, it will be a backward lane, because we're looking at the other part of the road. So that will be a backward lane this way. So we change this to N, then road north and also backward lane. So we've been able to do this. Now, another thing is the new car. Don't forget that we've been able to create a new car. So we are not using the agent, so we have to stick to our T car in which we used in the beginning, or we are able to create, so that all there will be a uniformity between all the car types in the model. So we've been able to do that. Then we close this. We do the same thing by coming to this point. So coming to this other one, so we come under the properties also. Since it is moving from north to south, so we should be able to change this to S, that is, and here will be also on road to road, on road south. So it's going to be moving on the road south. And don't forget end of backward lane also, because it's going to be a backward lane. So we have all this imputed, then closed. So the reason why we had to connect is that this is one movement in in the front direction. This is the backward direction. Then everything connecting to the car dispose that is leaving the simulation. So they're all connected to leaving the simulation. So with this now, if we decide to run the simulation, we'll see the movement at on when it comes to the two directions. So let us run this model and see. Let's quickly run this model. Let's quickly run this model. Like I said, if there is any mistake in our connections, it will show when we want to run the model. The model will not, it will not display the way it ought to. It won't show a functional display. But if there isn't, then we'll still be able to have our model as a running model or a functional model. So here we have it. You can see in the two directions, one direction and the other direction. You can see the movement within the two directions here. So let me see. So as we can see here now, we can see the movement in the two directions. After when we run the model, we can see the movement in the two directions. So you can see the vehicles moving in the opposite direction. East we created. We haven't done anything yet here. So that is one of the things we're going to be doing in the next video, being able to create our road east, and so that there can be an interaction with the road east and the main road.